Now, YNW Melly has just had an exclusive conversation with DJ Academics and actually discussed his official release date. Now, this is amazing for YNW Melly, so make sure you watch this video until the end, as I will be sharing that, plus much more about his court case that you will not want to miss. Now, leave a quick like on the video and subscribe if you are a fan of YNW Melly. Now, YNW Melly has easily been one of the largest rappers in the music industry now for the last few years. Sadly, YNW Melly has also been in lockup, as he is now the main suspect in the passing of his two best friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser. Now, millions of people across the world have now counted YNW Melly out. They said that he's just going to be, one of those other rappers who had an amazing rap career, made millions of dollars, but decided to throw it all away over something dumb. But honestly, that is actually not going to be the case, as YNW Melly has just announced his release date to DJ Academics in a phone call that they had. Now, DJ Academics tweeted this just yesterday at the time of this recording and said this, and I quote, "Just spoke with YNW Melly today on the phone. He confidently told me I'm coming home in 2020. And not only that, but Academics also followed it up with saying this, and I quote, "He sang 3 of the songs that he wrote in jail, and said that he actually made a full album in there as well. He can't wait for everyone to hear. He said most of his fans' favorite songs he actually made in jail, so he's actually used to writing in there." Now, this is some unbelievable news for YNW Melly, and especially his fans. With YNW Melly feeling very confident that he will be coming home in the year 2020 is some great news, and the best part is there's literally only about 4.5 months left, so YNW Melly could be coming home a lot sooner than we might think. Not to mention, he's already written a full album in there as well. So not only is YNW Melly being released, but we're also going to be getting a new YNW Melly album as well. Now, YNW Melly has been under lockup now for way too long, and at this point, many of his fans don't even know why anymore. Now, YNW Melly is being held in lockup while the investigation goes on for how his two best friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser, passed, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Now, he is being held due to the lack of evidence in the case that the law kind of has, and they're honestly just kind of holding YNW Melly in there, hoping that he will, break or something like that, so YNW Melly will give the real reason on how it actually happened, even though I'm pretty sure YNW Melly is already telling the truth on how it happened. Now, make sure you continue watching this video, because now I'm actually about to go over some exclusive evidence and photos of the crime scene itself, and maybe you watching this video could actually come up with a reason on how it really happened. Now, I will be starting off with probably the most important photos of them all, which it actually shows exactly where all of the bullets came from in the trail of them. Now, as you guys can see, the shots went perfectly straight and went through the entire car. Now, the main question that the law actually currently has is, how were these shots so straight, and yet YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie were the only ones even affected by this situation? How wasn't YNW Melly or Bortland touched or even grazed by any of these? They made it out perfectly fine with no bumps or bruises. Now, as you guys can see in these photos, the trails actually went right through YNW Melly's seat. Now, maybe YNW Melly just had some really good reaction time, but the question still stands, on such a clear and accurate shot, how wasn't Bortland and Melly touched? Especially since Melly was most likely the main target here. But getting into these next photos, This actually shows exactly where they were all sitting in the car the day it happened. Now in the car, you guys will see the photos of them. There was YNW Melly, YNW Bortland, YNW Juvie, and YNW Sack Chaser. Basically, the entire team of YNW. And let me remind you guys, these guys have actually all been best friends for life, like literally since they were kids. They've been through tons of tough times together, and they've just been through a lot together. So with them just driving around is actually really obviously normal, as I believe they all lived together as well in YNW Melly's house. But getting into these next photos, I will be showing you even the sides of the car where they were hit from. YNW Melly and Bortland were also sitting on this side. So it's honestly just kind of crazy to believe that through all of this, YNW Melly and Bortland came out not even touched. And I'm pretty sure whoever did the drive-by hit practically every angle of the car, which is absolutely insane to even think about, and I couldn't have even imagined being in that car. So maybe YNW Melly and Bortland just had some angels watching over them, but these photos were released after the police believed that YNW Melly set this entire thing up. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, the police believe that YNW Melly and YNW Bortland drove to a side street where not many people drive near, committed this awful thing, and then they tried to make it appear as if somebody else did it to them, so then they wouldn't face life locked up for it. So kind of like a switcheroo type thing, but I don't really know how this is really going to play out for them in this case. The only thing that kind of scares me was that YNW Melly didn't really think this fully through, as when this was all said and done, YNW Melly didn't even call an ambulance or anything literally after it happened. YNW Melly decided not even to call the police either. They instead decided to drive their two best friends, who were in some very bad conditions in the back seat, all the way to the hospital themselves. It actually took YNW Melly a total of 40 minutes to get there. Now, the police are trying to figure out, which is probably why they're still holding him in there, they're probably trying to figure out why wouldn't YNW Melly decide to call an ambulance or any help at all while his two best friends were in very bad condition right behind him, but instead decided to waste 40 minutes of precious time to take them to the hospital himself. Now right now the law is thinking that YNW Melly did this act to his two best friends, then took the 40 minutes to make the car appear as if it, went through something very rough, and so that his friend and himself would not be accused of anything in this crime. But either way, in this court case, it has been going on for a very long time. Obviously, the law are actually having quite some hard of a time trying to find some evidence on YNW Melly, which is probably why YNW Melly stated that he will be coming home in the year 2020. As I mentioned, there's only 4.5 months left of this year, so we could be expecting YNW Melly to come home a lot quicker than you'd honestly might think. Plus, this sort of thing actually happens in a lot of court cases, where the police and the law actually have a very hard time trying to find evidence on somebody, so they just continue to just leave somebody locked up, who actually might have a connection of some sorts with the case, hoping that, if they actually break over time when they just sit in a cell every day, and then the law will just use them to basically solve the case. But honestly, I think YNW Melly is doing a very good job of holding his ground while being on the inside. He did mention he actually wrote a full album. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure there are some articles out there that actually have shown YNW Melly just chilling and kind of doing things within his cell block. So I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good thing. He's got some friends in there, so he's not even really that much of a problem. But it will be very fun and exciting when YNW Melly is released. We haven't had a really good YNW Melly music drop in quite some time now, so I think with him being released, putting out this new album, his music career will literally just pick up where he left off, and he will just continue to be one of the biggest rap artists of the year. But anyways, it has been District Trending. I am ending the video here. If you enjoyed, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm out. Peace.